Welcome back to the channel, Lakers Nation and NBA fans from all around the globe. Today, we are diving into a story that is currently sending shockwaves to the very foundation of the purple and gold. We are talking about the kind of roster shakeup that redefines a franchise's trajectory, shifts the balance of locker room dynamics, and answers the one glaring question that has hovered over Los Angeles like a dark cloud for the past couple of seasons. It is a story about legacy, about the harsh, unforgiving reality of professional basketball, and about a front office that has finally decided to pivot from a media spectacle to a pursuit of undeniable, hard-nosed, two-way basketball talent. If you have been following the Los Angeles Lakers, you already know that this franchise does not operate in the shadows. Everything they do is magnified, dissected, and debated on every sports network, every podcast, and every social media timeline. For the last couple of years, the dominant narrative surrounding the Lakers hasn't just been about chasing championship number 18. It has been heavily centered around the unprecedented, historic, and highly scrutinized experiment of LeBron James and his son, Bronny James, sharing the same NBA court. We all bought into the story. We all understood the historical significance. Seeing a father and son lace up their sneakers and walk onto the hardwood, wearing the same uniform, is something we thought we would never see in the modern NBA, a league where longevity and athleticism rarely intersect at the exact perfect moment to make such a dream possible. It was a beautiful story, a Hollywood script that practically wrote itself right in the heart of Tinseltown. But here's the thing about Hollywood scripts. Eventually, the movie ends, the credits roll, and the lights come up. And when the lights came up on the Los Angeles Lakers, the reality of the Western Conference hit them like a freight train. The NBA is a ruthless meritocracy. It does not care about storylines. It does not care about your last name. It only cares about what you can do when the shot clock is winding down, when the opposing team is going on a 15-2 run, and when you need a defensive stop to save your season. And the cold, hard truth that nobody in the Lakers front office wanted to admit until now is that the Bronny James experiment, for all its sentimental value, has left a massive, glaring hole on the wing. We have watched the games. We have seen the box scores. We have witnessed a struggle to find meaningful minutes for a young player who was thrust into the brightest spotlight imaginable before his game was truly ready for the rigors of an 82-game grind against grown men. And that brings us to the breaking news that is absolutely dominating the NBA landscape today. The Los Angeles Lakers have found their answer. The Lakers have found their replacement. And no, it is not a fading veteran on a minimum contract, nor is it a massive blockbuster trade that guts the team's remaining future draft capital. The answer came on draft night, in a move that might just go down as the absolute steal of the 2026 NBA draft. Enter Cameron Carr. If you are not yet familiar with the name Cameron Carr, you need to get acquainted right now, because he is the rookie who is stepping directly into the spotlight, taking the minutes, the role, and the roster security that once seemed completely reserved for Bronny James. We are talking about a 21-year-old phenom who just had one of the most meteoric rises in recent college basketball history. We are talking about a 6'5" wing with a ridiculous 7-foot wingspan, a player who just set the collegiate world on fire after transferring to Baylor, and a young man who possesses the exact, specific skill set that the Los Angeles Lakers have been starving for. Let's be completely clear about what this means. The selection of Cameron Carr is not just another draft pick. It is a direct indictment of the roster construction flaws that have plagued this team. It is Rob Pelinka and the Lakers brass looking at their depth chart, looking at the production they were getting from their developmental spots, and making the bold, unapologetic decision to upgrade. They traded up to the 24th overall pick to get him, snatching him right out of the hands of other contenders, because they knew he was the missing piece. They knew that in Cameron Carr, they weren't just getting a prospect. They were getting a plug-and-play two-way monster who can shoot the lights out, defend multiple positions, and play alongside elite playmakers without needing the ball in his hands to be effective. In this video, we are going to break down every single angle of this massive development. We are going to look at the statistical and tactical reality of Bronny James's tenure with the Lakers and why the front office felt their hand was forced. We are going to dive deep into the fascinating backstory of Cameron Carr, including his incredible family connection to the late, great Kobe Bryant. We are going to analyze Carr's breakout season at Baylor, exploring the numbers that had NBA scouts absolutely salivating. And most importantly, we are going to project exactly how Cameron Carr fits into the Lakers' rotation, how he replaces a theoretical role that Bronny was supposed to fill, and why this single draft day maneuver might just be the catalyst that shifts the balance of power in the Western Conference. Grab a snack, settle in, and let's get into the deep dive on how rookie Cameron Carr is taking over in Los Angeles till truly understand the magnitude of the Lakers drafting Cameron Carr and what it means for Bronny James. We have to start by taking a brutally honest, objective look at where the Lakers found themselves leading up to this 2026 NBA draft. Let's put the emotions aside for a moment and look at the basketball reality. When the Lakers brought Bronny James into the fold, it was a move heavily influenced by the presence and the leverage of his father, one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. The hope, the very optimistic hope, was that Bronny could develop into a solid, defensive-minded guard who could knock down open threes and facilitate secondary offense. The archetype they were hoping for was someone like a Marcus Smart or a Derek White, a gritty, high IQ player who makes winning plays. But development in the NBA is rarely linear, and it is almost never immediate. The reality of Bronny's first couple of seasons in the league has been a struggle for consistency. When you look at the recent game logs leading up to the end of the 2025 to 2026 season and the playoffs, the writing was on the wall. Against the Indiana Pacers in March, 0 points in 5 minutes. Against the Timberwolves, 0 points in 2 minutes. Against the Nets, 3 points in 4 minutes. Even when he got extended run, like the 26 minutes against the Wizards, the production capped out at 6 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist. In the playoffs against the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder, his minutes drastically dwindled. In crucial postseason matchups where the Lakers desperately needed two-way production from their perimeter players, Bronny was logging 2, 3, or 4 minutes, often failing to register a single point. The modern NBA is unforgiving to undersized guards who struggle to score efficiently from the perimeter. If you are going to be on the floor for a championship contending team, especially one built around superstar playmakers, you absolutely must be able to do two things at a high level: space the floor by hitting the catch-and-shoot three, and defend the opposing team's best perimeter player. The Lakers found themselves in a bind. They were effectively utilizing a crucial roster spot on a player whose developmental timeline did not align with the win-now mandate of the franchise. The lack of reliable wing depth was killing them against teams with big, athletic wings. They needed someone who could catch lobs, run the floor in transition, switch on to multiple positions on defense, and punish defenses for overhelping. This is where the story of Cameron Carr begins. And to understand Cameron Carr, you have to look at his pedigree. Basketball is in his blood. His father, Chris Carr, was a highly athletic guard who played 6 seasons in the NBA and famously finished as a runner-up in the 1997 NBA Slam Dunk Contest. And who did he finish runner-up to in that contest? A young, high-flying rookie for the Los Angeles Lakers named Kobe Bryant. The poetry of that connection is impossible to ignore. Almost 3 decades later, Chris Carr's son is putting on the very same purple and gold jersey, stepping into the franchise that Kobe built, ready to leave his own mark. It is a kind of full-circle storyline that Lakers fans absolutely live for. But Cameron Carr is not here just because of a cool backstory. He is here because he earned it through an incredible collegiate journey defined by patience, hard work, and eventual absolute dominance. Carr's college career did not start with fireworks. He spent his first 2 years at Tennessee, a program known for its grueling defensive culture. Under Rick Barnes, Carr learned the fundamentals of hard-nosed, physical defense, but he barely saw the floor offensively. He was buried on the depth chart, a victim of circumstance and upperclassmen dominance. Many players in his position might have faded away, transferred to a mid-major, or simply accepted a role as a career backup. But Carr knew his worth. He knew what he was capable of, and he made the pivotal decision to transfer to Baylor University for his junior season. What happened next was nothing short of an absolute explosion, unleashing a system that valued his athleticism and shooting stroke. Cameron Carr had a breakout season that sent his draft stock soaring into the stratosphere. Let's talk about the numbers, because the numbers are staggering. In his junior year at Baylor, Carr averaged 18.9 points, 5.8 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 0.9 steals, and 1.3 blocks per game, logging nearly 34 minutes a night. He was the engine of the team. But it wasn't just the volume of his scoring. It was the incredible efficiency with which he operated. Carr shot 49.4% from the field. For a guard-wing hybrid who takes a significant portion of his shots from the perimeter, shooting nearly 50% is elite territory. Even more impressively, he shot 37.4% on his three-point attempts on high volume. This is exactly where the contrast with Bronny James becomes glaringly obvious. The Lakers have been desperate for a player who can consistently knock down the long ball while also possessing the length and athleticism to finish at the rim. Carr brings exactly that. At 6'5", he has good positional size, but his true physical separator is his wingspan. Carr possesses a ridiculous 7-foot wingspan. Think about that for a second. A 6'5" player with the arms of a 7-footer. That wingspan allows him to play much bigger than his listed height. It allows him to disrupt passing lanes, contest shots on the perimeter without crowding the shooter, and, crucially, it allows him to play stellar help defense and rack up block shots, evidenced by his 1.3 blocks per game at Baylor, an incredible number for a perimeter player. When NBA scouts look at Cameron Carr, the comparison that keeps coming up is Derrick Jones Jr., but with a significantly better jump shot. We all saw what Derrick Jones Jr. did for the Dallas Mavericks during their run to the NBA Finals. He was the perfect release valve. He played terrifying on-ball defense, and on offense, he hovered in the dunker spot or the corners, ready to catch lobs or attack aggressive closeouts. Now, imagine a player with that same leaping ability, that same defensive intensity, and that same knack for finding open space, but who is also a knockdown three-point shooter who demands respect from behind the arc. That is Cameron Carr. That is the player the Lakers just secured. The mechanics of how the Lakers landed him speak volumes about how much the front office values him. Entering the 2026 NBA draft, the Lakers knew they had a specific target. They saw Carr sitting there as the first round progressed. They knew that teams drafting in the late 20s were eyeing him. Instead of waiting and hoping he fell into their laps, Rob Pelinka took aggressive action. The Lakers executed a trade with the New York Knicks, giving up cash considerations and assets to move up just a single spot to number 24. You don't make that kind of micro-adjustment on draft night unless you are absolutely certain that the guy you want is about to be taken. They targeted him, they maneuvered the board, and they got their guy. Some draft pundits called it a reach. Others call the Lakers draft losers for giving up assets to move up one spot. But the Lakers scouting department clearly saw something undeniable. They saw a player whose skill set was too perfect a fit to risk losing that. Let's talk about that fit, because this is where the Bronny James replacement narrative truly solidifies. The Lakers' offensive ecosystem is built around gravity. Whether it's the downhill pressure of LeBron James, the pick-and-roll mastery of Austin Reeves, or the gravity of their big men inside, the entire system relies on having players on perimeter who can punish the defense for collapsing. For 2 years, opposing defenses have dared the Lakers' role players, including Bronny, to beat them from the outside. They have packed the paint, cluttered the driving lanes, and forced the Lakers into difficult, contested shots late in the clock. Cameron Carr instantly changes that geometry. When you put a 37% three-point shooter on the wing, who also has the athleticism to finish over the top of rim protectors, the defense has to make impossible choices. If you help off Carr to stop a drive, he is going to catch the kick-out pass and drill the three. If you close out too hard and try to run him off the three-point line, he has the ball-handling ability and the burst to put the ball on the deck, attack the closeout, and either finish with a thunderous dunk or draw foul. He is the ultimate offensive safety valve. There are already visions of the Lakers' playmakers finding Carr cutting backdoor for effortless alley-oops. But as much as his offense is a breath of fresh air, it is Carr's defensive potential that truly makes him the permanent upgrade in this rotation. The Western Conference is an absolute gauntlet of elite wing scorers. You have to navigate through the likes of Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, and Devin Booker just to get to the finals. You cannot survive with undersized guards who get targeted on switches. You need size, you need length, and you need a high motor. Carr brings all three. His time at Tennessee instilled a defensive discipline in him that is rare for a rookie. He understands offensive rotations. He knows how to use his 7-foot wingspan to recover when beaten off the dribble, and he takes pride in getting stops. He generated a massive amount of blocks and steals at Baylor, showing a knack for anticipation and timing. For the Lakers coaching staff, this is a dream scenario. They can plug Carr into defensive lineups late in games without sacrificing offensive spacing. He can take the assignment of guarding the opposing team's best perimeter player, allowing the veteran stars to conserve energy for the offensive end. This was supposed to be the niche that Bronny James carved out for himself. But Carr is simply bigger, longer, more athletic, and far more polished offensively. This brings us to the uncomfortable reality of what this means for Bronny. The drafting of Cameron Carr is the clearest signal, yet that the Lakers are separating family business from franchise business. The NBA is not a charity, and roster spots are the most valuable commodity a general manager has. By bringing in a 21-year-old wing who plays the exact same position, but brings significantly better measurables and collegiate production, the Lakers have essentially drawn a line in the sand. Carr is ready to contribute right now. He has the strength, having pledged to continue hitting the weight room to add even more muscle to his frame. He has the shooting. He has the defensive chops. Bronny, on the other hand, is still a developmental project. He needs reps. He needs time to find his rhythm, build his confidence, and adjust to the speed and physicality of the professional game. The Lakers cannot afford to give him those developmental minutes on the main stage while they're trying to maximize their championship window. The selection of Carr likely means that Bronny will see a significant reduction in his already limited NBA minutes, perhaps spending the vast majority of the upcoming season in the G League, where he can actually get the in-game experience he desperately needs. The Lakers are no longer waiting for a miracle leap in production. They went out and drafted the production they needed. Furthermore, Carr brings an infectious energy and a relentless work ethic that has already endeared him to the coaching staff and the front office. In his initial interviews after being drafted, he spoke about his willingness to lock in on defense, his desire to be a sponge and learn from the veterans, and his absolute commitment to doing whatever it takes to win. He isn't walking into the locker room an entourage or a massive media circus following his every move. He is coming in hungry, with a chip on his shoulder, ready to prove that the breakout year at Baylor was just the beginning of his story. That kind of hunger is contagious. It pushes everyone in the gym to work harder. When you look at the landscape of the 2026 rookie class, there are guys with higher ceilings, guys with more hype, and guys who will sell more jerseys from day one. But in terms of pure, undeniable fit, it is hard to find a better marriage between a player's skill set and a team's needs in Cameron Carr and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers didn't need a savior in this draft. They needed a highly competent, two-way role player who could elevate the floor of their rotation. They needed an upgraded version of what they hoped Bronny James would be. They needed Cameron Carr. And let's not forget the financial flexibility this provides. Rookie-scale contracts are the lifeblood of contending teams operating under the harsh realities of the new NBA collective bargaining agreement. Getting a player who can play 25 minutes a night and contribute on both ends of the floor for rookie money is a massive victory for Rob Pelinka. It allows the front office to allocate their heavier cap space toward securing elite frontcourt help or retaining key veterans in free agency. Carr is not just a tactical upgrade. He is a crucial piece of the financial puzzle that keeps the Lakers' competitive window wedged open as we wrap up this extensive deep dive into the Lakers' draft night maneuver. The picture is crystal clear. The era of waiting and hoping on the wing has officially come to an end in Los Angeles. The franchise has made a decisive, calculated pivot, and his name is Cameron Carr. For Lakers fans, this should be a moment of immense optimism. Yes, the storyline of LeBron and Bronny James will forever be etched in NBA history as a beautiful familial milestone. But when the ball goes up and the bright lights of Staples Center turn on, history does not grab rebounds, and storylines do not knock down corner threes. Cameron Carr does. He brings a lethal combination of a reliable three-point stroke, explosive athleticism, and a terrifying 7-foot wingspan that is tailor-made for the modern NBA defensive schemes. He is the archetypal three, and D-wing that every championship contender desperately covets, and the Lakers managed to steal him at the 24th pick. The implications for the roster are profound. Carr's arrival provides the Lakers with the immediate spacing and perimeter defense that was sorely lacking when relying on their previous rotational pieces. It takes the pressure off the primary ball handlers and gives the coaching staff a versatile weapon who can seamlessly slide into multiple lineup configurations. More importantly, it signifies a front office that is prioritizing present-day production over long-term developmental narratives. They identified a glaring weakness, aggressive moved up the draft board, and secured a player who is, quite frankly, an absolute perfect fit next to the stars of this team. As Cameron Carr steps into facility, hits the weight room, and begins to build chemistry with his new teammates, expect him to quickly become a fan favorite. His blue-collar work ethic, forged in the defensive trenches at Tennessee and refined into an offensive powerhouse at Baylor, is exactly the kind of DNA that thrives in Los Angeles. He is not just a replacement. He is an undeniable upgrade, ready to make his own name in the very same arena where his father once battled Kobe Bryant. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. If you enjoyed this exhaustive breakdown of the Lakers' newest weapon, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our in-depth NBA analysis. I want to hear from you down in the comments. Do you think Cameron Carr is the steal of the 2026 draft? And what does this mean for the future of Bronny James in a Lakers uniform? Drop your thoughts below. Until next time, keep loving the game, and I will see you in the next video.